Wow, what a beautiful place, the Wren's Nest. You can sort of see the views right away into the distance. We've got Sedgley Beacon right away there, and then we've got Sedgley just hiding right away there. I just love the Wren's Nest because of the history and the geological features what you can find over here. I mean, just right away in front you can sort of see this little cliff thing sticking right away up. And then further over that way we've got the caves known as the Seven Sisters Caverns. You can imagine though, in the old days, much of the locals, like the children, coming up to here and playing inside the caverns. I actually remember my dad telling me a story about when he went into the caverns when he was younger. I bet it was a sad day when they filled them in, and I believe the Seven Sisters was very unstable. I did read some newspaper articles online about children becoming trapped in Castle Hill Woods, so you can realise the dangers of them. But I don't think the Seven Sisters will ever get restored. It is a shame they never got the 50 million to secure the Seven Sisters Caverns. But what a place. I just love coming here for the scenery, the history, and then once more the geological features of the Wren's Nest.
The Wren's Nest is a geological site of special scientific interest in the Dudley Metropolitan Borough, northwest of the town centre of Dudley. It is one of the most important geological locations in Britain. More than 700 types of fossils have been found at this site, 86 of which are unique to the location, including the Dudley bug or Dudley locust by 18th century quarrymen. The limestone outcrops belong to the Wenlock group, which was formed some 420 to 425 million years ago from the material remnants of an ancient tropical seabed. Wren's Nest Hill was extensively quarried during the Industrial Revolution for building stone and the lime production. The site was originally studied by Sir Roderick Murchison, whose work defined the Silurian system, was mainly based on fossils and rock formations found at the site. During the height of the Industrial Revolution, up to 20,000 tonnes of limestone was quarried annually. Local industrialisation was considerable at the time, as the district had become highly industrialised in the heyday of the Black Country's industrial past, when quarrying officially finished in 1925. The site after this date was then abandoned.
Wow, what a beautiful place though, the Wren's Nest. It really does steep of history over here. It dates to 428 million years ago, to when all this was covered by a seabed. You can imagine all the local people, even miners who found the fossils, right away down in the caves and also the sides. They had to secure the Seven Sisters Caverns because it was becoming too unstable, so they filled it in with this like rock and sand. Even the lower galleries had to be filled in. Just beneath me somewhere is the Wren's Nest tunnel, what comes all the way from Castle Mill Basin. It goes from there and travels all the way through the Wren's Nest to meet to several sections. Just into Bluebell Wood is the Cathedral Cavern, and I believe it's the Step Pit Basin. There is some information here that I can quickly show you. But we can see here it says the Seven Sisters Mining and Industrial Heritage. We can see the pictures there. This one's the Seven Sisters Caverns in 1850. But this one's the interesting one. If I carefully blow this up on the screen for you, you can see it says Canal Basin in the Wren's Nest East Workings in 1958. So I believe that's actually one of the basins. So it goes through to that basin, then carries on and comes to this corner. I did see a DVD that I bought privately on the internet. It's got some amazing footage of the Wren's Nest tunnel. I think it's on IA Recordings. If you go on there, then search for Wren's Nest East Workings and you'll find the DVD. It's absolutely amazing. And then we can clearly see on this photo it says circa 1920s. You can just sort of see a pulley wheel. I believe it pulled some things from the bottom of the shaft coming all the way up to the top of the surface. But it does say here, underground limestone mining began at the Seven Sisters around 1750. Wow, that is really dating old, that. A tunnel which linked the deeper levels of the mines at the Seven Sisters was started by the Lord Ward in 1775, and there are still a vast number of tunnels which run beneath your feet, reaching some 100 metres down to a canal basin. Like I mentioned earlier, there's many canal basins what went from the Wren's Nest tunnel to lead to this section. The basin is big enough to hold 21 boats at the same time. Wow. The narrow boats were used to transport the limestone out to customers along the canal network. It was a very valuable commodity and used primarily in the iron industry as a flux. The Seven Sisters was mined using the pillar and store method. Pillars of rock were left to hold the roof up, whilst limestone was extracted from the stores in between. At its peak, in about 1850, up to 90,000 tonnes of limestone were removed annually, creating huge dark caverns beneath the surface. When the mine was abandoned and seized in 1924, these pillars were robbed and thinned by a last grasp of activity, which weakened the mine over time and caused some of the mines to collapse. So you can pretty much see that's actually why parts of the mine become unstable, because things were robbed when the mine was abandoned. And over time, bits of cracks happened inside the pillars. I mean, I can sort of see little bits of cracks at the moment just by the side there. So you can imagine if they'd never filled this in, the Seven Sisters might have collapsed. So by filling the caverns in and the galleries underneath, it actually supports the roof and then prevents it from collapsing even further. But I must say it's nice to still see that they've maintained that by filling them in and holding the history here. But it is a shame they haven't secured that 50 million grant to keep the Seven Sisters open. But you can imagine if they did that and you can actually walk right away in to see it one more time. I mean, do you believe they'll ever restore the Seven Sisters caverns? Drop it in the comments. Because it holds so much geological stuff down there, you can imagine many people across the world will come to see this one more time if it was actually still open. But what a place. I just really do love the Seven Sisters part, just seeing the old workings from an industrialised past. So right, going to go down these steps one more time. I mean, coming up these are really steep. Imagine walking these every day. My dad told me stories when he used to come to the Seven Sisters caverns, coming up something called the 99 steps. Not too sure if it's this one or the stairs, what I'm right away behind. But the views of this are absolutely amazing. Seeing the geological features with the side of the walls, this little bit of a cliff area, and I will come back to that in a little while. But you can see what I mean. Look at the view of that right away in front. I mean, the Wren's Nest is a perfect place to find fossils. I did see some locals over there, got some kids finding fossils at the moment. I will come back to that later in the video. We'll have a scour of the land and actually see what we can find. It would amaze me though if anybody's actually found any more of those Dudley bugs. I bet you've got to be scouring the land like very constantly. But over the years, I bet all the good fossils have actually been taken. The only things what remain is these smaller fossils what haven't been found between the rocks. Just right away in front of me is the abandoned cottage and also the lime kilns. There is a bit of information here. It says the Wren's Nest limestone workings were abandoned in 1924. But the lime kilns on the west side of the hill functioned until around 1935. So you can just see the date there when the lime kilns were last worked in 1935. Let's go and quickly show you. You can sort of see the lime kilns and on the other side of the derelict cottage. Wow. I mean, you wouldn't believe that the lime kilns are even still standing right away there in a very bad state. I believe there used to be a dating carved onto the wall, but nature has once more reclaimed that. If I get a careful look, you can just sort of see the inside of it. Wow, I mean, these are really dating old. You can just sort of see it goes a little bit of a way in, but doesn't go too far. But it's amazing to still see something from 1935 left here derelict. It's a shame it's not well preserved. You can imagine if it was all preserved and you can see right away inside, that would be cool once more, but it's all been gated off. It's all been left to crumble. Like this cottage right away behind, this one's been derelict for so many years. All the curtains are hanging out the windows. You can just get a sense of a ghostly past by looking at the building itself. So right, speaking to a lovely gentleman from that cottage there, he owns the whole land here, but the public footpath that runs through it is told me stories. This cottage here, what you see, dates to the 1800s. He actually once lived in there, and he was telling me stories when he used to look out the top window and overview in the distance. He did have a family member who actually worked in the area. I think it was something to do with the furnaces or the lime kilns. But he actually told me that this bit here is actually furnaces. There used to be big massive chimneys sticking right away on top, and I think there used to be other lime kilns further that way. But it's time people have been coming over here and vandalising the land, taking stuff out the building, climbing up. I mean, it's getting on a bit, but he's mentioned as well, because the chimneys fell off, it's actually damaged part of the roof. But I do feel sorry for the gentleman though, because you know, he's trying to maintain the buildings, but it's getting vandalised. But he's doing a really lovely job securing all the land by cutting it all back, maintaining it. But it's mad to see that that cottage dates to the 1800s. I'll give you some more cinematics in a little while. But he said the insides of it only go back a few feet, and inside there is where the furnaces used to be and where you had the chimneys right on top once more. It's a nice bit of area, and I think he's doing a really good job. But let's get some cinematics and show you the cottage one more time, and also the furnaces right away behind. I'll tell you what though, it's amazing to see that derelict cottage and also the furnaces. Would be cool to see where the other lime kilns are. I think they're somewhere over the further end of the wren's nest, if they're still there. But I think it's amazing how they've mined the side. If I carefully show you, this is actually where you would find fossils right away to the bottom. Wow, that really does go far up that. You can sort of see the little area to where they're cut to if I carefully zoom in. I must say though, it must have been a dangerous job doing all the limestone bits, working inside the caves, doing the outside. It just really does stand tall that. But I did see a newspaper article online saying the broken whaleback of the wren's nest. It says here, the broken whaleback of the ridge at the wren's nest, Dudley, where thousands of tons of rock have collapsed into the limestone workings below after blasting operations in the caves beneath. The detonations are part of a scheme to blow up all the dangerous caverns on the wren's nest and seal them from entry. So that newspaper article dates to April the 1st, 1961. I've been trying to research tons of information and history behind the wren's nest, and I've actually found tons. But the most important thing over here is the geological features of the area. I mean, just beneath me right now, there's probably tons of fossils buried right around the ground. I mean, on the surface, there's tons of rock what fell right away from the top. And if you are lucky, you'll probably find tons of fossils. So let's get down to the ground and let's go and see if we can find some ourselves. We're probably not going to find big fossils, but you're going to find very small ones. So I've actually found some already. You can sort of see the little bubbly areas right away there. So that's definitely some sort of fossil. You can sort of see all these little bits of sea creatures what are buried right away inside the rock, giving evidence of 428 million years ago. It's mad to see all this though. You think all this was covered by sea, and then seeing all these different fossils. There's even bits of shells in there, bits and pieces what I've never seen before. I mean, it's all covered inside this rock. This is pretty much the best place over the wren's nest to find the fossils. I mean, quite a lot of locals are on that other part over there, where this bit is probably the best place for where the rocks actually fell. But there's absolutely so much. Look at these. There's even a shell on there. If I carefully zoom in, look at that shell onto the corner. You can just sort of see the detail and patterns inside that rock is absolutely insane. See if I can find some more, but I bet I'll be here for hours trying to spot them. Wow, look at the details inside that. You can sort of see that little bit there sticking out is some sort of fossil. It's a really big one, that. I mean, I've been scouring the land up here and found even more. And probably that's the best place to find it, over there, where all the rocks are fell down onto this corner. But you can imagine if you walked a little bit more further up, which is a bit dangerous, you would find even more on the little ledges right away there on top. But what an interesting thing, I could spend hours doing this, finding the geological evidence of the past. But let's go back to the viewpoint and let's go and have a look at that one more time. Because when I came over here this morning, it was very busy, so I couldn't film around because of all the children over here. So let's go and see if we can get the best of the views one more time. But check out the views for that. You can clearly see nature has really reclaimed that area there, with all the trees, all the plant life, the moss on the branches. Wow. Gonna have to get some photos of that because that is really stunning. I'll tell you what, it just feels like I'm in a different place. It doesn't feel like I'm in the wren's nest. Seeing this little alley going all the way through with the two big massive limestone walls right away here. It's just amazing to see this. It is one part of the wren's nest what I've never seen before. Like I say, you always go back to a place and you discover new things, new routes. You see much more what you've never seen before, and that's what it's all about, exploring. Definitely might come back here again in the summer because I'll do a bit of fossil hunting here and enjoy the scenery one more time. But let's quickly show you me exploring the Black Country book. This is actually what's coming soon. So I want to quickly show you this book, what I've actually made. This is the Midlands Outdoors Exploring the Black Country issue 1. I've actually created this, it's 28 pages long. I think I might extend it. But it's got some amazing photos into here and information. If I quickly show you a few pages, you can sort of see the pictures what I've added to the book, all my explores what I've done, Gloucester Hill Tunnel. There's so much things what I've added throughout the Black Country during my exploring. Issue 1 will actually cost £3.50. I might even add the wren's nest into here. But stay tuned for that because I'm actually going to release this hopefully next month.